Welcome back. You're watching The Market. EVs, what a buzzword it has been, right? Since the outbreak of the pandemic. Look what's happened with Tesla. Back home, you have Ola Electric that is trying to disrupt the entire two-wheeler market. It has driven in with the S1 and the S1 Pro scooters, with Bhavish Agarwal, the founder, very famously saying that they've sold 4 scooters every second during the launch window. Ola Electric overnight has announced it raised $200 million at a valuation of $3 billion. So let's check in with Ola Electric. Joining us is Varun Dubey, the Chief Marketing Officer at Ola Electric. Varun, good morning. Thanks so much, first of all, for giving your first interview to ET Now since that big fundraise, $200 million. What are you going to do with all of that money? Is it primarily for manufacturing, and that too at a time when we are seeing supply chain disruptions with what's happening in China?
Thanks, Nandara. Thanks for having me on the show. And, like you said earlier, I think the $200 million, we will be focusing that money on accelerating new product lines. As you know, the S1 and S1 Pro that we have launched are just the first in a range of EVs. We are starting with scooters, and these are first in a range of scooters. We're also going to expand to motorbikes and then eventually cars. So this money will go towards accelerating that development. In terms of the factory, we remain well capitalized for that. And as we have committed, towards the later part of October, delivery should begin for customers, and production trials are already on. So that's pretty much on track.
The hot topic these days, Varun Dubey, is also what's happening in China, right? And the supply disruptions that have had to take place because of that. It has impacted the auto sector too. The chip shortage, for example. There may be more disruptions now as well with the energy shock. Is that going to impact Ola Electric? Are your production timelines, delivery timelines on track?
Yeah, it is, as you know, an evolving situation, Nandara, and I think we're all dealing with it, some more than others. However, as our timelines currently stand and what we've committed to, the delivery windows we've committed to customers, they factor all of this in. So we don't expect delays in the timelines we've already committed.
In your first answer, you said you're going to start with scooters. So what is the larger game plan? Can you move from scooters to cars, to commercial vehicles like buses? Is that the plan? And then by when?
So we're going to be focused on the urban mobility segment. We're an urban mobility brand, and it's a space we understand well. So our plan is, quite straightforward. We have announced what we call Mission Electric. And we want really to move India and the world to sustainable mobility. That's been our mission for the last 10 years. And one part of that has been our mobility services business. And this is the second part of that, where we're making the vehicles themselves sustainable. So we're going to play the full spectrum of vehicles for consumers, across two-wheelers, which will be scooters and bikes and so on, as well as four-wheelers with cars and other form factors. I think the larger picture there, Nandara, really is that as electric vehicles come in, they will fundamentally alter the way people think about vehicles themselves. The vehicles will fundamentally change. The form factors will change. The modes in which people use them will change. And I think that's where we're all headed. And with Mission Electric, what we have said is that we would like the industry and their customers to come together and really commit to electric, so that after 2025. No more petrol two-wheelers are sold in India. It's not an easy ask, but we believe that given the excitement that we are seeing on our products and the general sentiment for the consumers for electric, as well as the very favorable tailwinds that we're seeing, as well as the policy and the macroeconomic scenario, I think all of this will help us get there.
Right. Varun, hi, Aisha as well joining in. Just wanted to understand, how ready is India for electric vehicles? I mean, the largest automaker, Maruti, as of yesterday, said that, the country isn't quite ready. Enough has already been said about the charging infrastructure, and now there is this bigger devil, which is the semiconductor chip shortage.
I think, if you look at when you say the readiness of India, right? If you look at India's vehicle market, we sell about 20, 21 million two-wheelers in India. So India moves on two-wheelers, right? And if you look at the data that we have in terms of the reservation numbers we have, or the on purchase day we sold about 1100 crores of worth of product. Clearly the consumers are saying that they are ready for electric. So the consumer is ready for electric. The government is quite pro-electric. We are seeing effects of that on our business certainly. So I think India is quite ready, and there will obviously be rollout periods in terms of infrastructure for chargers. We are putting up the hypercharger network, but we also expect a lot of people to just use the home chargers, as people have independent homes in vast majority of India. So between those two, I think those will get solved. And the third is that even within the vehicles, for example, with the S1 and the S1 Pro, we have very, very high range with 181 kilometers, which is good enough for most people for a week. So, holistically, if you look at the trend in which these products are going, they address pretty much all the anxieties that consumers have had thus far with electric vehicles. And especially with the focus on two-wheelers, I think India's EV revolution is going to come on two-wheelers. In fact, if you step back a little bit and you look around the world, outside of probably North America, the rest of the world primarily moves on two-wheelers. Whether you look at Southeast Asia or India or China or even large parts of Europe are quite pro two-wheelers. So if you bring EVs to two-wheelers, and they are largely an urban mobility product, it definitely makes it easier for a very large majority of population to move to EV, and that's really where the revolution will come. So I understand that there may be certain time period adoption for four-wheeler EVs, but I think even there, if you look at some of the products that others have put out, you will find that the adoption numbers are growing. But certainly on two-wheelers, the demand and the consumer sentiment is very clear that they have already moved to EV.
Sure. Varun, where's the large part of the volume for you going to come in from? I mean, are EV two-wheelers going to be primarily used for fleets such as, the likes of an Amazon, Flipkart, Zomato, Swiggy, etc.? Because they've all made such announcements recently and announced tie-ups as well. Are you also going to, look into a tie-up such as this?
See, eventually over the course of time, as India itself transitions to EVs, obviously these vehicles are going to make their way into various fleets. But right now, our focus has been and remains on consumers. So, currently we're selling direct to consumers. The numbers that we've put out in terms of reservations and sales, last month on 15th, 16th of September, that is completely products that we have sold to consumers. So, while various categories will obviously have demand, but to the question you were asking earlier, clearly the consumer segment is quite ready to move to EV, and at least our business volumes and our sales numbers are telling us that.
So, Varun, what I'm reading from what you're saying is that you're betting on the bottom-up approach, and very different from how America has operated in terms of the four-wheeler penetration there on EVs, and that's exciting. What is the opinion that you have based on the response that you've gotten for the vehicles that you've launched already? Do you have a plan to take it to the other Southeast Asian markets that you mentioned that are pro two-wheeler?
Absolutely. We have this stated clearly in the past as well that, our factory that we've put up in Krishnagiri, the Ola Future Factory, which, as you may know, is the largest two-wheeler factory in the world. That is our global manufacturing hub. And, from there, we're going to take the products all around to newer international markets as well, across Europe, UK, ANZ, and Southeast Asia as well. So, that we are right now focused on India, but soon we will start putting products into international markets as well. And we start again with this and this.
Okay. Do you have any timelines that you're working on though for that? And in terms of the launches of the four-wheeler that you mentioned, can we expect something as early as next year, 2022?
Definitely, our international expansion will happen in the coming months. It's soon. We are right now in the midst of rolling India out, and as soon as that is done, we will get our wind back and start focusing on the international expansion. So that's soon. In terms of our cars, we are not sharing any timelines at the moment. But obviously we want to get to the various form factors fairly quickly.
Varun, you sold scooters worth 1100 crore rupees in 2 days. Bhavesh Agarwal said on Twitter that's 4 scooters a second. For the upcoming festive season, any dhamaka plans? Especially when it comes to pricing, we all know the Indian consumer is very, very price conscious, and that's how you're trying to take the lead in opening up the electric two-wheeler market.
See, we believe that the Indian consumer is, actually quite value conscious, right? So they are willing to pay if they feel that the value is strong, and that's what we are seeing in our products. I also think that currently, if you look at the pricing for both the S1 and the S1 Pro, they're actually already quite aggressive. In many states, once you factor in the state subsidy, for example, if you look at Delhi or Gujarat or even Maharashtra now with the new subsidies, you will see that they are actually in many places cheaper than their ICE counterparts. So it is already pretty aggressive, and that's already showing up in our sales numbers, like you mentioned. So we don't really see any major reason to have special pricing at the moment. But as and when we come up with some Diwali plans, I will look back and I'll share those.
So if you read between the lines, there may be some Diwali dhamaka, but just not confirmed. Now, Varun, you folks at Ola have also been talking a lot about Atmanirbhar. The future factory is going to be all women, so it's going to be the largest all-women factory in the world. And simultaneously, it's no open secret that you've got Elon Musk and Tesla asking the government for all kind of incentives, import duty breaks, tax breaks. What is Ola's stance on this? Have you had any meetings or conversations with the government with your side of the story?
See, our position on this is quite clear that, we believe that India, is a large domestic market and has the potential to be a global EV hub, both in terms of a market as well as a manufacturing hub. And, India today has the talent and the capability to build these vehicles. I mean, we are putting the world's largest factory here. So clearly it's possible. Our view is that, anybody who comes to India, they should ensure that, they are investing in India and helping not just to bring money here, but really help build the ecosystem. See, EV is an ecosystem play, right? It's not just about the vehicle. So there's a supply chain, there is obviously innovation that has to happen around that. Localization needs to happen. So what we say is that, if you're coming to India, invest in India, make it in India. And then, India is already a major auto export hub. So there's no reason to not have this as a major auto export for the EVs also. So we are just against people treating it as a market for sales only. And once they're here, we would be happy to compete with them. When we go internationally, certainly we will compete with many international players. So we welcome the competition, but we believe that India deserves the investment to come and for the local ecosystem to be developed. The technology and the know-how should be here, and we can be a global manufacturing hub for EVs. So why not? Why shouldn't we do that?
Okay, that's Ola Electric for you, only on ET now after raising a massive $200 million fundraise. And from the likes of SoftBank as well as Falcon Edge, valued at $3 billion. Thanks a lot for your time.